Have you ever felt it? That quiet, hollow ache in your chest, even when you're surrounded by people. It's a feeling that crawls in when you least expect it, a shadow that lingers long after the sun has set. We call it loneliness. But what if I told you that loneliness isn't just a fleeting emotion? What if it's something more? Something that affects us as deeply as a physical illness. Today, we're going to talk about why loneliness might be one of the most widespread, yet misunderstood diseases of our time. Let's get one thing straight. Being alone and being lonely are two very different things. Solitude can be a beautiful, restorative experience. It's a conscious choice to spend time with yourself, to recharge, to reflect. Loneliness, on the other hand, is an involuntary state of distress. It's the gap between the social connection you want and the social connection you have. It's a feeling of being disconnected, misunderstood, or left out, regardless of how many people are physically around you. You can feel lonely in a bustling city, at a loud party, or even in a marriage. So, why call it a disease? Well, think about what a disease does. It disrupts our body's normal functioning and causes harm. And that's exactly what chronic loneliness does. Scientists have been studying this for years, and the evidence is overwhelming. When we feel lonely, our bodies go into a state of high alert, a kind of constant fight-or-flight mode. This triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol. In the short term, this is a useful survival mechanism. But when you're chronically lonely, your body is bathed in these stress hormones day in and day out. This sustained stress response has devastating effects. It leads to chronic inflammation, which is a key driver of almost every major chronic illness you can think of. We're talking about heart disease, strokes, type 2 diabetes, and even certain types of cancer. One groundbreaking study showed that chronic loneliness is as damaging to our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let that sink in. It's even worse for our longevity than obesity. It's not a metaphor, it's a physiological reality. Loneliness makes us sick, and the impact doesn't stop with our physical bodies. It wreaks havoc on our minds. Loneliness is a major risk factor for depression and anxiety. It distorts our perception of the world, making us more likely to see social situations as threatening. It can create a vicious cycle. You feel lonely, so you withdraw. You withdraw, which makes you feel even more isolated. Your social skills might get a bit rusty, making future interactions feel more awkward and reinforcing your belief that you're meant to be alone. It also accelerates cognitive decline. Studies have shown a strong link between loneliness and an increased risk of developing dementia and Alzheimer's disease. When we're socially engaged, our brains are constantly being stimulated. We're processing language, reading social cues, and creating memories. This mental workout keeps our neural pathways strong. When we're isolated, our brains don't get that same level of exercise, and our cognitive abilities can start to fade much faster. So, if loneliness is this serious, why aren't we treating it like the public health crisis it is? Part of the problem is the stigma. Admitting you're lonely can feel like admitting you've failed in some fundamental way. It's often seen as a personal flaw, a sign of being unlikable or awkward. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Loneliness can happen to anyone, at any stage of life. It can be triggered by a major life change, like moving to a new city, losing a loved one, a breakup, or retirement. And our modern world, ironically, seems perfectly designed to foster it. We're more connected than ever through technology, yet so many of us feel more disconnected than ever. Social media can create a highlight reel of everyone else's perfect life, making our own feel inadequate and isolating. We substitute deep, meaningful in-person conversations for shallow online interactions. We work from home, order food in, and binge-watch shows by ourselves. We've traded community for convenience, and we're paying the price. But here is the most important part of this conversation. Just like any other disease, loneliness is treatable. It's not a life sentence. The cure, however, isn't a pill or a single procedure. The cure is connection. And it starts with small, intentional steps. It's about shifting our focus from the quantity of our connections to the quality. You don't need 100 friends. You just need one or two people with whom you can be your authentic self. Someone you can call when you're having a bad day. Someone who truly sees you. How do we find that? It starts by putting yourself out there, even when it feels scary. Think about your interests. Is there a book club, a hiking group, a pottery class, or a volunteer organization you could join? Shared activities are a fantastic way to meet people because they create a natural, low-pressure environment for connection to grow. You already have something in common to talk about. The focus is on the activity, not on the pressure of making friends. It's also about relearning how to connect. This means practicing empathy. Be curious about other people. Ask them questions and truly listen to the answers without just waiting for your turn to speak. Offer a genuine compliment. Share something vulnerable about yourself. Vulnerability is the bedrock of connection. It's the signal that says, I trust you. I'm willing to be real with you. And it gives the other person permission to be real with you too. Another powerful antidote is service. When we help others, we get out of our own heads. It reminds us that we have value and that we can make a positive impact on someone else's life. Volunteering at an animal shelter, helping an elderly neighbor with their groceries, or mentoring a younger person, these acts of service create powerful bonds and a deep sense of purpose and belonging. You become part of something larger than yourself. We also need to re-examine our relationship with technology. Let's use it as a tool to facilitate real-world connection, not replace it. Use social media to organize a get-together, not just to passively scroll. Instead of texting, pick up the phone and call a friend. The sound of a human voice carries so much more emotional information than a string of emojis. And finally, be patient and kind with yourself. Building meaningful connections takes time. There will be awkward conversations. There will be rejections. That's all part of the process. Every attempt is a victory, regardless of the outcome, because it's a step toward breaking the cycle of isolation. Celebrate the small wins, the friendly chat with the barista, the smile from a stranger, the brief conversation with a coworker. These small moments of connection are the building blocks of a less lonely life. If your loneliness feels overwhelming and you're struggling with severe depression or anxiety, please remember that it is a sign of strength, not weakness, to seek professional help. A therapist can provide you with tools and strategies to challenge the negative thought patterns that loneliness creates and help you rebuild your confidence. There is no shame in asking for support. So let's start a new conversation about loneliness. Let us stop seeing it as a personal failing and start recognizing it for what it is. A fundamental human need that has gone unmet, a disease that we all have the power to help cure. Reach out to that friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Invite a new colleague to lunch. Smile at a stranger. Let's start rebuilding our communities, one connection at a time. Because we were never meant to do this alone. Thanks for watching today. If this video resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing, and share in the comments one small step you're going to take this week to foster connection. You never know who you might inspire. See you next time.